catch JJ.
I don't think.
He's already too fast for you, Roger?
Yeah, well, I have a baby chair right in my way. I couldn't grab him fast enough.
Oh,
So we are live on Facebook. We are going to get started tonight. Good to see you all. And why don't we just one more time wish each other a good Shabbos and a happy New Year.
Shabbat Shalom. Happy New
Good
Year.
Shabbos.
New Year, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Amen. 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 And let me go ahead and mute everyone, and then Cantor, if you could. Well, that's the wrong button. You think I'd... You think it'd get easier, but I still sometimes get a little confused. So thank you for bearing with me as we really kind of start this new year, I think, in a wonderfully positive way. What better way than to come together for Shabbat, than to come together and sing together, and then to come together and really pray together. So I want to welcome you all. Yasher Koach to each and every one of you in this upcoming year. A lot of changes in this year, whether we thought we could have foreseen what possibly could have come this year, who knows? But this year, there will be changes this year as well. And if we prepare, we will be able to meet the changes with grace, dignity, kindness, love. Chesed, loving kindness, is a principle in our tradition. We, as always, over the past several months,
Hello. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos. Let me go ahead and just, so we start like we've started every Shabbat over the past several months. We start with Shalom Aleichem on page 16.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Happy New Year. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Malach, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Malach Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Malach Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Malach Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Malach Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem L'Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Malach Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Malach Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Yasher koach to you, Cantor, as we turn now to page 38 with Lecha Dodi. One of my favorite stanzas in Lecha Dodi, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad. And you've heard me say this before, but it bears repeating. Many of us have heard this idea of being Shomer Shabbos. If somebody is Shomer Shabbat, meaning that they observe the Sabbath, that they, with all its restrictions and all its joys, that we do everything on Shabbos that we are ought to do. But oftentimes people forget that there's just something as important. It was said b'dibur echad, in one utterance, also v'zachor Shabbat, to remember the Sabbath. That sometimes I think we get so caught up in how it is that we do Shabbos. Are we lighting the candles on time? Are we going to services on time? Are we doing all of these things that we associate with being Shomer Shabbos, being a guardian of the Shabbos, that we forget about the Zecher, the Zachor Shabbat, to make sure that we remember. And how is it that we remember? We remember by looking back. We remember by our memories. And it is important that we tell stories of what was Shabbat for us, what it means to us, what its significance is for us, how it is in our spiritual life. That's exactly what this particular Lecha Dodi is really concerned about, Zachor, to remember. It is written by a Kabbalist, and we understand that Kabbalah means to receive. What is it that we're receiving? The mystical tradition. The mystical tradition is one that is really concerned with our spiritual well-being, not the things that are really holding us in line. That is the shomer, to have strictures and boundaries and what we can or can't do. Zachor is about the limitless possibilities that are in Shabbat. May we remember this Shabbat and the immeasurable possibilities that we have during Shabbat. Time to come together with friends, opportunities to grow spiritually, a moment to really connect with God. Lecha Dodi on page 38.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el hameuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. We rise. Bo'oi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'v'sachala, toch emunei am segula, bo'oi chala, bo'oi chala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
Please be seated as we turn now to page 50 with the Ma'ariv Arvim, Lord of night and day. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, whose words bring on the dusk of evening.
El Hai v'kayam, tamidim lo chalenu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Amahariv Arahavim.
With an everlasting love, you have loved the house of Israel. Teach us your Torah, its mitzvot, laws, and judgments. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael amcha ahavta Torah umitzvot hukimu mishpatim otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu v'kumeinu nasiach behukecha v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu ve'yorech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam v'layla ki hem chayenu ve'orech yamenu Uvahem nege yomam v'layla ki hem chayenu ve'orech yamenu Uvahem nege yomam v'layla ki hem chayenu ve'orech yamenu Uvahem nege yomam v'layla ve'avatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha Hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'shachbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'eineinecha u'ktavtam Al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha.
The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the children of Israel and bid them to make fringes in the corner of their garments throughout their generations, putting upon the fringes of each corner a thread of blue. When you look upon the fringes, you will be reminded of all the commandments of the Lord and obey them. You will not be led astray by the inclinations of your heart or by the attraction of your eyes. Thus, you will be reminded to fulfill all my commandments and be consecrated to your God. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, the Lord, am your God."
Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem. Amen.
Wanted to just speak briefly on page 64 as we prepare for Vishamru, a chance for us to really bring a positive energy to our prayers. Not that we haven't already. I can feel it even through the screen, and I see all of our friends on Facebook. Want to welcome you as well. There is the last pasuk, or the last verse in this wonderful, wonderful prayer says, Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash, and on the seventh day the Lord ceased this work and rested. And the word nefesh, it denotes here a rest, but a soulful rest, a part of us that we need to, I believe at times when we take our thoughts and our emotions, there's a part of us that is really separate from those thoughts and emotions, that deep part of us, that soul you can call it, or that just part of us that is excited to be alive, that part of us that is separate from all the thoughts and the tickings in our heads and all the emotions we have. If we removed all of that, that would be essentially just our life. And we allow that part to rest. We stop torturing it with all the thoughts and considerations we have during the week. We stop torturing ourselves with trying to figure everything out, and we pause for a moment. And the real question I'm trying to bring into this year, and those of you who are with me in Torah study might have been, you know what, I don't know. It might have been the morning minyan as well, but the thought that I'm taking in is your presence. Does your presence, when you enter into a room or wherever you are, does it bring joy to those that you are around? Your presence, does it bring joy to those who you are around? It's a very important question that I am carrying with me very close in my nephesh, in my soul, in my heart, in my life today. Because if I'm not bringing joy to other people's lives with my presence, what am I bringing? And so it's important that we elevate each other and focus. And how I answer that question might change from day to day. Talk to my wife. She's in the other room right now. So I might not bring her joy all the time. But the truth is that aren't we expected to at least try better each and every day? Hopefully we can continue to bring joy to each other. And as we rise, we focus on how we can bring joy to others through song, through dance, and through Vishamru.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim Asa Adonai, et hashamayim, ve'et haaretz, ve'shamru, v'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
Why don't we remain standing as we turn now to page 68 as we prepare for the Ma'ariv Amida for the Sabbath, as the cantor guides us in the formula for the meditation as we enter into the Amida.
Anananananana Adonai, Anananananana Svatai Tivta. Ananananana ufi agid tehilatecha.
Grant abundant and lasting peace and well-being to your people Israel and to all who dwell on earth. For you are the supreme sovereign of all peace. May it please you to bless your people Israel in every season and at every hour with your peace. Praised are you, O Lord, bestower of peace upon your people Israel.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon L'chol ha-shalom, ki atahu melech adon, l'chol ha-shalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, Tasim leolam, v'tov be'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, b'chol eit u'b'chol sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
We now turn our attention to those who are in need of healing, spiritually, physically, mentally. We ask God for a refuah shlema, a refuah nefesh, a refuah guf, a complete healing, a healing of body, a healing of spirit. We ask that you can please place the name of those who are in need of our thoughts and considerations and prayers and good energy into the chat so that we all know who we offer our prayers.
Misha berach avotenu makor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha berach imotenu, makor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
May God send a speedy recovery for those in need, and let us all say, Amen. If you're like me, I'm feeling a little tired. I didn't even stay up late last night, but I think it's just inherently in my kishkis that I think that I'm supposed to. So, you know, I'm exhausted today, and I think that there's a lot going on in the mind that affects the body, and how we live in the world really is a function of what's happening internally. This week's Torah portion really kind of discusses a little bit about this. Isn't it true how we see the world, how we view the world is essentially our choice. It's a choice we make. You can focus, it's your choice, on what is going well, or you can focus on what's not going well. You can focus on problems, or you can focus on potential. The choice truly is yours. In several conversations today that I had, a lot of people made the statement, and you've probably heard me say the statement, that it's just another day, same stuff, different day. People love making that comment. I have to say that this statement and statements like those are soul killing. It is the antithesis of spirituality. It is, if I dare say, the wrong way to look at the world. Joseph's brothers, who sold him into slavery, still believe in the back of their mind that Joseph will seek revenge for their behavior. Could you imagine that? Something that you did decades ago is still haunting you today, and you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Anyone ever experience that? Jacob then dies, and the brothers approach Joseph. Of course, they're very, very fearful now that maybe they see their father as a barrier against any ill will that Joseph may have had towards his brother. That barrier is now gone. So the brothers approach Joseph to remind him, I should say, that I'm very, very sorry. We are so sorry for what we did, almost as preemptive. Anyone ever made an apology knowing that you have an ulterior motive? You know that you should say you're sorry, but you weren't really all that sorry. A way in which to make sure it all works out in your favor. But when Jacob dies, the brothers do approach Joseph to remind him that they are truly sorry, that he shouldn't harm them. Please don't harm us, they say. They believed on some level that after their father's death, Joseph would turn on them. Joseph replies, and I'm going to read it right out of the Chumash. He replies, and it's a beautiful little pasuk in this week's Torah portion that states, Ve'atem chashavtem alai ra'ah, Elohim chashva'a latov. Latova. What does this literally mean? You thought about what had happened. You're selling me into slavery and you doing all these negative things. You thought about it in the terms of a negative thing. You looked at it in a negative lens. You continue to look at it in a negative lens. But God thought about it in terms of the positive. There was something that you couldn't possibly see, my dear brothers. The lesson is very, very clear. When we spend time, think about your life over the past year and where you want to go in the year to come. When you spend time holding on to negative behaviors, or you hold on to the mistakes that you made, or your bad attitude, it consumes our thoughts. It becomes how we see the world and how we see others. Let go of the thoughts and opinions and see what's possible. Just as God saw what was possible, so too we can choose to not come to any conclusions about life, not come to any conclusions about what other people may think, do, or how they will behave, not think about what Joseph is going to do, not come to any conclusions, and choose to focus on the possibilities everywhere. This Shabbat, it's going to be a beautiful Shabbos. Take a moment and walk around the neighborhood and try for 5 minutes to not go down the path of negativity or what can't happen or what problems are, and look for possibility in the world in which we live. There is possibility everywhere. If we just take a moment to open our eyes and focus, then that is what we will see. Remembering that what we focus on grows. May we spend this year focused solely on possibility, not fall into the trap of Joseph's brothers of only focusing in on what could go wrong or concluding to the world, put conclusions into the world in which we think we know. That destroys possibility. Shalom. We continue our service with Aleinu, which can be found on page 118.
Please rise.
Please rise. I always forget.
It's because we're already standing up, that's why. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gerula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, Va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notei Shamayim ve'osed haaretz u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim ha'al u'shchinatu zo begavhei meromim Hu Eloheinu ein od emet malkeinu efes zulato Kakatu betorato v'yadata hayom v'hashevota elevavecha ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim b'shamayim imha ve'al haaretz mitachat ein od Ein od.
For sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory. As it is written in your Torah, the Lord shall reign forever and ever. And it has been foretold, the Lord shall be sovereign over all the earth. On that day, the Lord shall be one, and shall be acclaimed as one.
Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai imloch leolam va'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
We ask those who are mourning or observing yahrzeit to remain standing, and may the memories which we cherish and lovingly now recall inspire us so to live, that we too may bequeath the heritage of precious memories to those whom we shall leave behind. In tribute to our departed, may we enrich the lives we touch, and may we share and preserve the faith which our mourners will now affirm as they rise to sanctify God's name in the hallowed words of the Kaddish. In this week's yahrzeit, Ted Gerner, father of David Gerner, Louis Moot, grandfather of Terry Greenberg, Tema Stevens, niece of Shirley Cohen, Gregory Yaroslow, friend of Lori Rimlin Bond, Sarah Cohen, mother-in-law of Shirley Cohen, Claire Greenberg, mother of Earl Greenberg, Leo Copley, father of Doreen Barsky, Robert Lewenda, father of Stephen Lewenda, Lawrence D. Halliburton, father of Tommy Halliburton, Joseph Zebrock, father of Eileen Hamus. The mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 124. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah be'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael badalav izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbam v'rach le'olam u'me'omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudusha b'ruchu La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran b'yama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Aseh shalom bin Ramav, kuya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God, who makes harmony in the universe, grant us harmony here for us, peace for us, all Israel and all humankind, and let us all say, amen. Yasher Koach to you, Cantor. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. May you find this year to have endless possibility, and may this year be one that we are blessed. Also in this Torah portion, Jacob blesses his sons and grandsons. May we find time this week to give brachas. This is the time to give blessings to other. Call up those that we care about, that we love, and give them a blessing of health this year, amen. A blessing of parnasa, sustenance, and may we find great wealth, not just money. Of course, money would be good, but may we find great wealth and deepness in our lives this year. And we can all say amen to that. We now turn to page 90 for Kiddush. please rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'avav ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lamikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabat kodshecha v'ahava u'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabat. L'chaim, Shabbat Shalom lekulam. As I unmute all of us, wishing each other a Shabbat Shalom. See you tomorrow at 10 and Havdalah at 5:45. Shabbat Shalom lekulam.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.